Today we're going to take a look at my Handic 2305. This radio comes from Sweden. I remember as a kid, I was 13 back in '76, and I remember seeing this in the CB radio magazines, and I just thought these things were cooler than cool because of that orange stripe, and I love the shape of it. It's just neat. Anyway, so this is a 23 channel, 5 watts output, AM base station, Class D certified for U.S. operations. So it came out of Sweden, but I would imagine this was for the U.S. market. And you Handic guys out there, please leave comments and let me know what you know about this particular box. Let's go over some of the user features. We have the CBPA control, RF and signal, and then SWR meter control. We have forward and reflected for SWRs. We have A&L, which is very effective. And this is on and off for the sub-audible tone, which is a feature I'll get into here in just a second. We have volume, squelch, SWR calibration. We have a really cool meter. And our light for that. And then the 23 channel rotary control. It's kind of hard to see with that white light being back there. And then a round front firing speaker that sounds good. Okay, this is crystal controlled, not PLL. And I took the grain of wheat bulbs out of here. They were a little dim and amberish for me, and I actually prefer white LEDs. And not in all radios, but some of the older radios look cooler with it. I think it does. I kind of like that look on this radio, so I'm going to keep those like that. And then I have it wired up to a really nice Turner Plus 2. And yeah, nice rig. So here's the deal. I modified this radio. I broke my rule. I have a rule of thumb. I don't buy radios that have been converted, modified, switches on top, switches on the side, switches on the face. I just don't do it. Pass it up. They made more. I'll find one without it. But that being said, I've had this radio forever, since about mid to late 80s. I've had 2 of them actually, and the other one I sold on eBay back in the day because I could never find a mic for these. These are a 4-pin DIN, and I think these are 4-pin at 20 millimeter, I believe. Now, I'm not too familiar with DIN configurations. I know the Radio Shack 5-pin DIN isn't going to work. I don't think you can modify it to make work on here. And I wouldn't try because you'd probably bust this anyway. So I kind of, like I said, I broke my rule. So what I did is I put in a 4-pin connector and then mated it up to this microphone. And there was really no physical modification to do this. I just put a jack like this, a chassis mount 4-pin male, in place of the OEM one. And I have a little bit of wear around here from the previous user. I would imagine this is fingernails and stuff like that. So that's already been like that. But there's this little piece of aluminum on top of a plastic overall bezel here. And I did have to take my pocket knife and just waller a little bit of that out, just barely. But you can't tell. It looks just fine. You could put it back to stock and you'd never know a difference. Okay? Okay, so that being said, that's the modification I did to this radio. Sorry, Handic. Okay, so the priority mode, the sub-audible tone. And they called this, I think, select call or selective calling. And basically you put a box on the back of this and a box on the back of another compatible radio, preferably a Handic, I would imagine. And what you could do is you set your own personal frequency, your tone frequency that you want to use, and then when you put it in this mode, the only radio you will hear is the other party with the same setup that you have, and kind of like the 2-meter selective calling stuff. It was kind of a cool idea. There were some manufacturers back in the 60s and 70s that did this. It never really caught on, and you know, in my opinion, I think maybe a lot of people just didn't understand how this worked. I think people bought into this because they thought that the station you were talking to and yourself could be the only ones that could be heard on the channel, and that's just not true. Everybody on whatever given channel you were on was going to hear your conversation. It just muted them out, and only you two could hear each other. So, a worthless feature, in my opinion, but that's me. It's not as worthless as a Channel 9 switch, but hey, that's a whole nother topic. Alright, so we'll plug the turner into it, and let's do some wattage readings here. We're on the dummy load, and when I first got this radio, it was sitting at a hefty 5 watts, and it would PEP to 10. I turned that down because I don't want that power. I want to stay a little under 3. So we are at 3 watts right now, and hello, 1 2 1 2. Just a little flicker forward, no problem. Let's put it in feel good watts, and we'll see what we get in PEP mode. All right, 1 2, hello radio, and this is what we're getting. We're getting about 8 watts, and just average PEP talk power. We're easily doing 8 watts, but we're sitting, around 6 or 7, realistically. So that's not bad at all. But that meter reading means nothing to me. I'm not building amplifiers. Okay, that being said, we're done with that. Receive quality. It's just a little under, say, a Cobra 25. I would probably say if anybody had an old Cobra 21 or... Oh, wait a minute. I know what. I would say this would be equal to the crystal-controlled Cobra 29. There you go. That's the last one of those I had on the bench. That's what this reminds me of. So it's okay, but it's old-school technology, which isn't bad, but it's definitely not like a dual conversion receiver or anything like that. This has a GRE board in it, actually quite a few boards, and I'll show you some pictures of that at the end of this video. So anyway, Handic, I don't know how familiar you guys are with this, but they were really popular for their orange walkie-talkie. It was just really the coolest walkie-talkie on the planet. Not very feature-packed, but it was a really cool-looking rig, and that's why I always kind of had an interest in these particular radios. I like anything that's kind of off the wall and goofy. This thing was, like I said, was owned by a smoker, so the top of the cabinet's not really all that good a shape. Somebody put a cigarette there on the front, it looks like, and yeah, I mean, I saw that back in the day, and I'm like, oh yeah, Vladimir the Russian set his Russian cigarette on the top of that, and yeah, smoking his face off, drinking vodka, and screwed up his beautiful Handic. Anyway, it cleaned up pretty good. Here's my secret weapon. That stuff will make anything look good. And that meter was a little scratched up too, and it is looking good. So, 5mm white LEDs, front of the radio. Let's take a look at the back. Okay, so the back of the radio has some surface pitting and stuff on it. When you take off this case, all around here and everything, and the inside of the chassis is bright and shiny, and it looks brand spank me new. But we got some nicks. The old owner was just not very good with this radio. Let's just say that. He just didn't treat it very good. I guess neither did I. I had it packed away for over 20 years. I didn't even know I had it. So here's our fuse right here, a power cord, and this has a little strip on the back inside by the power supply, so you can jumper it to run on 220. There's the ID tag. Sweden. This is the power output control for your sub-audible tone box. This is negative, positive. This metered out at 14.3. This adjusts the squelch or the tone level as far as breaking your squelch. This is for the selective call box itself. By the way, I've never seen one. If you guys have or know where to get one, let me know. I'm kind of interested in that. I'm not going to be able to use it with anybody, but it'd be cool just to have the whole station. 1/4-inch jacks for external speaker, PA, and then, of course, our antenna connector. So, another question I have for my viewers is this. The radio's in pretty decent shape, but I really want to repaint this lid. So here's my dilemma. What color is this? I know on video it's kind of hard to really ascertain what this is, but to me this is kind of like a cream, or a little bit creamier than an eggshell white. I love the shape of this radio. This thing is so cool. Look at that. That thing is just cool. So I want to repaint this, but I have no idea what to get for this. And I just don't want to do it in white, because then it just won't look right. I want the right color, and I'm just not good with that. So if you know, let me know. Anyway, guys, the Handic 2305. It's a beauteous unit. Please leave comments down below. Please subscribe. And if you have any stories on this, I like your old CB radio stories you guys send me. That's really cool. We're going to have to do a video on that. Yeah, tell me if you had the tone box and how it worked. And if you have one now or had one before, how did you like this radio? I think it's an average AM radio. Not bad, but I'm not going to run it every day. It's probably going to go back in a box. All right. Thanks for watching. And yeah, let's throw those the pictures up of the inside of this thing. Thanks for watching, guys.